Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video episode of the Forgotten Weapons Library. I'm Ian, and today we're taking a look at a book that I was really surprised we hadn't mentioned before, Hatcher's Notebook. This is by General Julian Hatcher, and anyone who's not familiar with this guy, really what you should do is just turn off the video right now and go buy yourself a copy of the book, because it is really that amazing. Hatcher had the job that we all would have died to have if we'd been around in the 19-teens, 20s, and 30s. I don't want to make these reviews go too long, but it's going to be a little tricky here with this book just because of the sheer quantity of really cool stuff that's in it. So let me see if I can speed through some of what we've got here. Just a brief bit of biography. You should just buy any book that Julian Hatcher wrote. While he was in the Army, he was chief of the machine gun and small arms section of engineering for US Ordnance Department. He was officer in charge of Springfield Armory's experimental division, chief of small arms division, technical staff, Ordnance Department, 1920s. He was works manager at Springfield Armory. He worked at Frankfurt Arsenal making ammunition for a time, chief of Ordnance Training Services in 1942 and 43, a number of military medals, Distinguished Service Medal, Legion of Merit. After he retired from the military, he took over a position of technical editor for American Rifleman, back during some of the time when they did some really good technical in-depth articles. He was a director of the NRA from 1922 to 1946. I mean, really, he was there when all the really cool stuff was going on in the US Ordnance Department. If we take a look, first of all, this is a pretty thick book. We have a total of 640 pages in here, and it is just chock full of really neat stuff. Let me take a look at the index for you guys, or the table of contents. We have a section on machine gun mechanisms. We have development of the military semi-automatic rifle. It's interesting to note, Hatcher, while he had a bunch of these technical positions with official duties in developing firearms, he also just was really fascinated by guns and would go out and experiment with things that caught his interest. So there's a lot of that in here as well. He talks about heat treatment and different steel alloys to use in firearms, talks on corrosion and ammunition, notes on headspace, recoil and recoil theory, ways to reduce recoil. Here we have effects of variation in powder temperature on muzzle velocity. And a lot of these are short sections. There's a lot of discussion of the Pedersen and the M1 Garand rifles. Let's see what else. There was a Mythbusters episode on TV a couple of years ago about what happens if you fire a bullet straight up in the air. There's a significant section in Hatcher's notebook on just that. His experiments were quite a bit more in-depth than the Mythbusters ones, and had some more interesting results. What else? If we just randomly, here we go. I randomly flipped open a page, and I have pictures of, from 1918, of the Bang rifle and the General Liu rifle, and below it the Heinemann rifle. Similar mechanism to the Bang, which, how many places do you find information on something like that? Let's see. Opening here, we have a section on experiments with barrel obstructions. Firing a number of pistols to destruction just to see what would happen. Section on, well, we mentioned this, receiver steels. In fact, he talks in here about the alloys and the heat treats that were used by guns like the Arasaka, which, if you've read the little blurb that's gone around the internet all the time, the Arasaka actually turns out was one of the strongest bolt-action rifles built during World War II. And here's some discussion of why and what you can do to duplicate that kind of strength. Let's see. Chapter on the Pedersen device, another thing you don't find a whole lot of information on. Ballistics, if you want to know ballistics information on something like the 276 Pedersen, where nobody's writing about that, well, Hatcher wrote about it, and you can still find it in his notebook. I could go on, but I don't want to have this go too long. Suffice to say, Hatcher's notebook really is a must-have book. Some of the books we talk about here are nice to have and focus on specific elements. if you're at all seriously interested in firearms, firearms design, firearms history, this is definitely a must-have. It really should be on your bookshelf. So check it out. We'll provide a link. You can get it hardcover and softcover. It continually gets reprinted, so it's fortunately still widely available. And I know you guys will really enjoy this one. So thanks for watching.